Hi, welcome back to our music store. How are you doing? Great, I'm doing well too. So what did you think of the two albums you got last time? You like them? Good, good, I'm glad to hear that. I really like those albums, so I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed them too. Seeing that you enjoyed those, I have a couple recommendations for you if you're interested. Since you enjoyed Rumors, I think you might want to try out Tusk. Now, this album was released 2 years after Rumors, and Lindsey Buckingham didn't want to make Rumors 2. He didn't want to make the same exact album he just did, so he went in a completely different direction. It's very lo-fi, kind of. It's all produced by Lindsey Buckingham, I think, for the most part. And a lot of the songs were done in really interesting ways. For example, he used a Kleenex box as percussion on one of the songs, and some of the vocals were recorded in his bathroom, and he just experimented with a lot of different recording techniques and different sounds, and even composition-wise, it's very much a departure from the previous album. Of course, there are a couple tracks by Stevie Nicks and Christine McVie, which follow the more pop structure of the previous album, but Buckingham has about 10 songs on this album out of 20. It's a double LP, and his songs are completely different, but they're really incredible. So you might want to check that out. Some other stuff we recently got in you might be interested in. This is Queen's Night at the Opera album, and this version is actually the special edition that came out a couple years ago, I believe. The first disc is a normal CD. It was originally released in 1975. And the second disc is a 5.1 version of the album. And I believe it also has music videos for Bohemian Rhapsody and You're My Best Friend, plus 10 other videos. I watched the videos before. I have this myself, and it's mostly either the music video or live footage, but they overdub the sound from the live videos with the studio recordings. It's still pretty interesting, and the 5.1 mix is spectacular, especially the Prophet song. If you haven't heard that, you're definitely going to want to check that out. It's really one of my favorite songs ever recorded. Here we have the Low Anthem, and this is their album, Oh My God, Charlie Darwin. It was released in 2008, I believe, or maybe the beginning of 2009. This is a indie folk band, and this album is spectacular. I actually was lucky enough to see them in a high school auditorium about half an hour away from where I live in 2009, and it was one of the most intimate shows I've ever seen. At the time, there were 3 people in the band, and they each played a couple different instruments, and during the transitions between songs, they would just switch completely to a different new instrument, and it was really interesting. Recently they added a couple more players. I think they're up to 5 now, and their last album is really good too. But you'll definitely want to check this out if you're interested in indie folk music. This is actually the first addition to, I think it was hand painted. So it's a pretty neat collector's item. This is Opeth's Heritage album. This came out last year, 2011, and it didn't do too well with a lot of fans. Before this, they were more or less a progressive death metal band, but this was a pretty big departure from that kind of sound. It goes back to the more progressive 70s kind of sound. Very King Crimson-like. And the second disc has a documentary and a 5.1 mix of the album. And I think it's a pretty good album. It's definitely not anything like their other albums, but if you enjoy 70s music or progressive music, you'll probably end up enjoying this. Dream Theater. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're definitely probably the biggest progressive metal band out there. They used to be my favorite band back in high school. Since then, I haven't really been able to get into them that much, but they definitely were an important band at one point in my life, and they definitely have some pretty good songs. This was their second album, their first with their current singer James Labrie, and it's I think it's 8 songs, and a lot of these are the classic songs that most of the fans love. And of course, if you've been following the music world, you'll probably have heard about Mike Portnoy, their drummer, leaving, and it was a big dramatic fiasco, pretty much, where they were slinging words back and forth. Well, it was more of Mike Portnoy just kind of being a big baby, in my opinion, but their new drummer is great too. And they released a new album. I've only listened to it once, but it was pretty good. They started kind of getting stale, I think, in their last 3 albums before that. So it was kind of nice to hear something new and refreshing. But if you haven't heard Dream Theater, they're definitely worth checking out. On that note, we also have Jordan Rudess and John Petrucci's album where they played a concert together, and they didn't play any Dream Theater songs or any Liquid Tension. They might have played one Liquid Tension Experiment song, but for the most part it was either their own compositions or improvisations, and it's really interesting. They're both virtuoso players, so you get a lot of great music here. Some of it's very relaxing, some of it's just really cool sounding stuff. This is a Pineapple Thief. They're from England. Bruce Sword is the main songwriter in the band. And this is their latest album. It came out in 2010. And it's called someone here is missing, sorry, I forget the title for a moment. And it has 9 songs on it. And it's a great album. It's I'd probably describe it as indie progressive music. They often get compared to Porcupine Tree and Radiohead. Personally, I can kind of see it, but they definitely have their own sound, at least in my opinion. The last track on here, So We Road, is great. It has a big build-up, and it's a great way to close the album. I really want to see these guys live, but I don't think they've toured America yet. It's kind of costly for a lot of European bands to come over here if they don't have that big of a fan base. But hopefully they'll come eventually. And this one isn't for sale, but I thought you might be interested in seeing it. I just got it today. It's Steve Wilson's live album from the last tour he did in Europe, and it's called Catalog Preserve a Mass, and it has 7 songs on it. Most of them are from the new album Grace for Drowning, but there were also 2 from his first solo album, and the copy I got is actually signed by Steve Wilson, so I thought that was really cool. It comes in a little gatefold. It's a very good album. I got to see 2 of his shows when he toured America last fall, and they were easily some of the best concerts I've ever seen. And on that note, I have a Porcupine Tree album right here. Now, Steve Wilson's main project is Porcupine Tree, and they are easily my favorite band. They've gone through a lot of different sounds and genres throughout their career. They started out as just more of a psychedelic, progressive kind of sound, and then in their middle of the career, they went towards more of a pop, but not really pop. It's I guess progressive pop maybe. And after that, they kind of went toward a progressive metal sound, and now I don't know where they're gonna go next. They tend to change up their sound every 3 or 4 albums, and the last one is supposedly going to be the last progressive metal album. But this one right here is Lightbulb Sun, and it's from their progressive pop era, I guess. I think it was 2000 or 2001 when this was released. It's a great album. It's pretty depressing. A lot of it is, well, it's, I don't really know how to describe it actually, but it's definitely worth checking out. The second to last song on here, Rush on Ice, is about 13 minutes long, and it's definitely one of the more depressing songs I've heard from this band, but it's really good, and the ending is incredible. I have one more thing to show you. This is The Deer Hunter, and this album was released in 2011. It's called The Color Spectrum, and it's 9 different EPs. I really love this box set. Each EP is based around a different color. And each EP comes with the correct color on its vinyl. So you have black, red, orange. Yellow. Green. Blue. Indigo. Violet. And finally, white. Now each EP is a completely different sound, so you're pretty much getting 9 different genres in this collection. We'll go backwards, it's actually the other way around, but we'll start with the last one. White is more of a ballads album. Each EP has 4 different songs on it. And White is ballads, it's very piano driven, light guitar acoustics. Violet is probably closer to their other albums. It kind of has a sort of a theatrical feel to it. I don't really know how else to describe that. It's, yeah, you'll have to just listen for yourself, I guess. Then there's Indigo, which is an electronic version of the Deer Hunter, and it's very light and airy. Blue is more of a indie type thing. It's very acoustic and kind of depressing. Green is another acoustic EP. This one is more lighthearted. Yellow is kind of Beatles sounding, like the psychedelic late 60s feel. Some pretty interesting stuff. Orange is more of a classic rock kind of sound. Red is a kind of a mix between thrashy metal and punk. And black is the other electronic EP, but this one is more dark and brooding. So that's that. Did you see anything that you were interested in buying? Okay. You wanted the Porcupine Tree vinyl? Okay, that's a great one. If you like this, let me know. We do have almost all of the Porcupine Tree albums in vinyl and CD. So if you wanted to check out any of their other ones, we have all of them. Is there anything else? Okay. Pineapple Thief? Sure, it's another great choice. You'll really like this one, I can tell. And anything else? Okay, good. The Tusk? Yeah. This is probably one of my personal favorite albums. It's definitely not the easiest album to get into, but don't be so quick to give up on it. Give it a couple listens and I'm sure it'll grow on you. Alright? You're all set. Thank you for shopping with us. I'm sure I'll see you again soon. Bye.